Today, I'm going to share a strategy that I use to keep steady progression with strength training at different levels while staying excited about it and avoiding plateaus. It's helped dozens of my clients stay consistently motivated in the gym while making continuous progress, and it's helped me a lot over the years deal with different frustrations that come along with training and trying to get stronger while doing jiu-jitsu and grappling. So here's the problem. Lifting and strength training is fun and engaging when you're making progress, you're feeling your body get stronger and build muscle. But most grapplers or people that just go to the gym to lift and get stronger hit strength plateaus. They get discouraged and they either quit their training program entirely or hop between random programs, never making real progress with either approach. And this commonly keeps people from breaking past beginner and intermediate strength levels, even if they've been lifting a long time, because they're either jumping between things or doubling down on the thing that's not working super well. Now, what if I told you there's a system that practically guarantees you'll hit a personal record in every single workout? A system that keeps you addicted to training because you're consistently seeing measurable progress. And most importantly, it's a system that delivers consistent strength gains that actually transfer to improved performance on the mats. That's exactly what I'm sharing with you today. It's what I call the PR addiction system. It's a methodical approach to strength training that ensures consistent progress, prevents plateaus, and keeps you psychologically engaged for the long term. Before I break down the system, let's talk about why hitting regular PRs matters so much for jiu-jitsu athletes specifically. As grapplers, we're already investing significant energy into our technique training, our sport training, and our supplemental strength work needs to be efficient and effective and engaging. Otherwise, it's usually the first thing that we drop and cut out when life gets busy. And when you consistently hit PRs, two critical things happen. First, physiologically, you're creating the precise stimulus that's needed for continual adaptation. Your body responds to progressive overload, not to doing the same thing you've done time and time again in the past. And second, psychologically, you build momentum and positive reinforcement that makes training a highlight rather than a chore. And this consistency over time is actually much more important than any specific program design or specific exercise for long-term results. The problem is that conventional approaches to strength training eventually lead to plateaus where PRs become increasingly rare, which leads to frustration and decreased motivation. So the PR addiction system solves this problem through the use of different progression strategies. So strategy number one is microloading and double progression on straight sets. And the foundation of this system is something that most people completely overlook, which is called microloading. This is something that lots of people use, but specifically I've gotten this idea from Grant Fowler, Fowler Fitness on Instagram. Check him out. Super interesting, cool guy. As you can hear by the name, microloading just simply means smaller weight increments than the standard 5 to 10 pound increments that most gyms use on their plates or on their machines. By adding 1 to 2 pounds or even less on smaller exercises or exercises you're more advanced on, you can continue progressing by weight for months when you'd otherwise stall. Here's a simple way to implement this along with a double progression system. So first you have to invest in some fractional plates. These are small weight plates that allow very minuscule increments of weights such as half a pound, 3/4 of a pound, etc. When microloading, you can progress in two ways. You can add small increments to the weight when you can't add any more reps. And I'd recommend combining this with the double progression method along with microloading. So you add reps each week to your set until you can't go past the desired rep range. Then you can increase the weight by a small amount each week until the reps start to drop below your desired rep range. Then you start again with the rep progression and rinse and repeat. And this approach is valuable particularly for smaller exercises like shoulder presses, rows, and accessory work where 5-pound jumps is just not realistic. You can also use it with larger movements that you're just more advanced on. So inevitably with the microloading, you'll reach points where adding weight or adding reps to your straight sets becomes extremely difficult. This is where most people just stall out. But the PR addiction system, we're simply going to shift to a different type of PR using intensifying techniques. So when you can't hit a straight set PR or just adding reps or small amounts of weight to your main set, then we move into intensification techniques. These are simply methods that extend a set beyond traditional failure, creating an additional growth stimulus. It's basically blurring the boundaries or blurring the lines of what a set is. So here are the 3 favorite intensification techniques that I like to use. First, rest pause sets. After reaching failure, rest 30 to 60 seconds, then perform additional reps with the same weight. Track all the reps across all of the segments or mini sets. For example, if you did 10 reps last week, you took a 30 or 60 second break, then you did 5 reps, then you did 4 reps for a total of 19. Next time you might try to do a total of 20, either by being able to get one more on one of those sets or adding another rest pause set. So you can basically always hit a PR using this method. I would rest longer for bigger exercises and for closer to failure attempts. So if you're doing this with squats and you get very close to failure on your first set, it's probably going to work better if you take a full minute rest. If you're doing this with bicep curls, you could probably do a 30-second rest. Just keep track of how you're doing it and figure out what works best for you. Another version of this that people are familiar with is drop sets, where you immediately drop the weight after reaching failure and you continue the set. So just keep track of that. That is something that will work better for smaller exercises. I would use the rest pause sets on the bigger exercises. But drop sets can be fun to do as well. They're not my number one preferred method, but some exercises they work really well on. Again, experiment, figure out what works best for you. Myo rep PRs is similar to a rest pause set, just with a shorter rest. Basically, you're going to just take a few seconds of rest and then add another rep, a few seconds of rest and then add another rep, and so on and so forth. This doesn't work well with big technical exercises, but it works great with smaller exercises or with machine-based exercises where starting and stopping is very easy. The beauty of these intensification techniques is they take a little extra time while providing a novel stimulus that both creates adaptations and keeps the training fresh and engaging, so you're constantly hitting PRs. The third strategy is not really an intensification technique, it's just adding sets. So if you've been consistent with strategies 1 and 2 and you can't break through a plateau after doing those, it's time to just simply increase the volume. It's very simple, but it's often overlooked. Just simply add another set. And if you've been doing an approach that I often recommend, which is using a minimum effective dose of sets, you should have time and space to add this in. So if you've only been doing one working set of an exercise, which is something that I often recommend for people that need to manage fatigue, just adding a second set will automatically create a new PR opportunity. Since you've never done 2 sets before, whatever you accomplish in that second set is by definition a PR, and it's an opportunity to add on to the next week. This still can work well if you've been doing multiple sets. Just simply add more. You just don't want it to get out of control to where you're doing so many sets that it's not manageable time and energy wise. And we're just looking to improve the performance of that added on set eventually next week, and just gives you another opportunity to continue to PR. So when you've gotten to the point of using a lot of these intensification techniques and adding some additional sets for quite some time, and the workout is getting maybe a bit long and intense, just simply reset back to fewer straight sets at the start and repeat the process. So here's a quick practical summary. Step 1, start with basic straight sets and micro-loading double progression. Aim for 1 to 2 working sets per exercise, training close to failure initially, and then just simply aim to beat your performance of last time by adding small weight increments or a rep or 2. Step number 2, when you can't progress with micro-loading for 2 consecutive sessions, implement intensification technique and track those PRs. So you can use any of the intensification techniques that I mentioned. I would recommend using rest pause sets. After 3 to 4 weeks of intensification techniques, try to return to the straight sets, and you'll likely find you can progress again with just the micro-loading and the double progression. And then if you're still stuck after that, you can try to add a set and track that volume over time. Once you've cycled through these strategies and your workouts are getting kind of bloated, just take a deload week where you just slightly reduce the number of sets and the intensity or the proximity to failure on the lift, and then reset. The beauty of this approach is that it almost guarantees you'll hit some type of PR in every session, which maintains your physiological progression and psychological motivation. But here's a quick word of caution. Don't change your form on the lift into something else just to write down the PR. You don't want to become so addicted to it in that sense that you start changing the nature of the movement just to be able to lift more weight. This will probably lead to you actually taking tension off the muscles and increasing the risk of injury for no benefit. Now, there is a time and place for cheat reps and using momentum and body English, but it should be done intentionally and not just for the sake of writing down a higher number, because we're trying to get more tension on the muscles here. So the PR addiction system isn't just about getting stronger, it's about staying engaged with your training over the long term. This is a tortoise versus hare type scenario, and by methodically cycling through these progression strategies, you can ensure consistent progress over the years, preventing demotivation and slumps that derail most training programs. And for grapplers specifically, this approach offers a crucial benefit. It allows you to continue making strength gains while managing your overall stress. Since you're already investing so much energy on the mats, having a systematic and efficient approach to strength progression is invaluable. If you'd like a complete guide to implementing this concept and many others for grapplers and jiu-jitsu practitioners, including proper exercise selection, programming templates, recovery strategies, specific body part resilience protocols, and more. Check out my Grappler's Resilience and Performance Guide. The link is in the description. We also include community coaching, so sort of a hybrid coaching model within that, where you can gain access to one-on-one coaching from me at a much lower price than in any other offering that I'm able to do. So check it out and keep hitting those PRs on and off the mats. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.